Hi, I'm Greg Hunter. This is the weekly news wrap up for Friday, June 2nd, 2017, the WNW 286. What a week. What a huge story. I knew which way Donald Trump was going to go when he tweeted out the day before, I'm going to make my decision tomorrow about the climate accord, the Paris Climate Accord. And then he put in all capital letters, make America great again. But we're out. I said, boom, we're out. And sure enough, he announced that the United States is stepping out and turning back the Paris Climate Accord, which is, just an agreement. And I was watching CNN. Wolf Blitzer is supposed to be this learned reporter, and Fareed Zakaria, who's, I don't know what, anti-American weasel, talking about how this is a treaty. No, it's not a treaty. That's one of the big problems with it. It's not a treaty. You keep hearing about how all these countries have ratified it. Well, I guess they did. Basically, America pays and suffers while everybody else parties, gets money, and continues polluting. That's a summation. And the snowflakes on the left went crazy. And it's amazing to hear senators back this agreement when they are abdicating their duty and responsibility and power to ratify a treaty. That's what this is. And here is Chuck Schumer on withdrawal from the Paris Agreement. Trump to earth, drop dead. Here's another, and there's many of them. I mean, they went crazy today. In his first ever tweet, Lloyd Blankfein at Goldman Sachs slams Trump's climate decision. And listen to this. This is his tweet. Today's decision is a setback for the environment and for the U.S. leadership position in the world. Pound Paris Agreement. Why, bailing out Goldman Sachs for doing stupid things with their clients' money was a disaster, in my opinion, and you should never have been bailed out for loaning AIG money and needing to be bailed out. Lloyd. Of course, Goldman was the guy, Hillary Clinton was asked, why did you do all those Goldman speeches? And Hillary blurts out, well, they paid me. Here's an MSNBC overpaid snowflake newsreader, spin doctor, propagandists, in my opinion. And MSNBC host Nicole Wallace said it's so incredibly cynical, and added that it revealed a very shallow and cynical exploitation of Trump's base voters. She's worried about Trump's base voters. And let me tell you what all this has in common. It's cynical. It's to the world. Trump's said to the world, drop dead. It's not the EU, France, Germany, Italy said, we're not going to renegotiate this treaty. Like, well, I guess not. Everybody's going to have to suffer if you renegotiate it. We'll talk more about it in just a minute. But, the good thing about this hyperbole of, it's drop dead to the world and it's exploitation of his vote, cynical, those are nothing terms. They didn't attack him on the substance of his speech. And incidentally, you guys, I'm going to put this in the weekly news wrap-up, the right-through, also on the news section on the website. You should read it. I mean, he sourced this thing. I'm going to hit some highlights, but here's my take on this speech. And I was cheering. I pulled over and sat in a parking lot and listened to this on XM radio, satellite radio, and I was cheering it. He was killing it. And my take is that Trump enumerated why the Paris Climate Accord, a bad deal for America. He destroyed it. And you're not hearing anybody on the left talk about his statistics and facts. He destroyed it. This is why he took his time, because he learned it. He crafted a good speech, with maybe by himself or with his staff. He learned it. He sourced it. He killed it. Nobody is talking to him about the facts he used. Let me just hit a few of them here before we get into it. Disadvantages the United States to, this is what Trump says, disadvantages to the United States to the exclusive benefit of other countries, leaving American workers, who I love, and taxpayers to absorb the cost in terms of lost jobs, lower wages, and shuttered factories. Can you see what's going on here with the Democrats are now the party of the Satanists, the New World Order, the liars, the we hate you, deplorable little people, working people, unions, working people. Can you see what's happened with this? Lloyd Blankfein is upset. I'll bet you I'll bet you the auto workers in America are not upset. There was a bunch of companies got together and wrote a letter, but these were companies: Goldman, Twitter, Google, Facebook. Hate Trump, hate Trump, hate Trump, hate Trump. Few other ones too. Elon Musk. He got big government money for his companies. Elon Musk, and he's no longer be on the business council. Wilbur Ross says, well, no problem replacing him. And Wilbur Ross was on the air, the multi-billionaire Wilbur Ross, who is now the Secretary of Commerce, saying that I have business heads come in my office, and he knows them. He doesn't need a job for $300,000 or whatever that pays a year. He's a multi-billionaire. And he says, I have people all the time. They're enthusiastic. They're loving it. And listen, Trump getting out of this climate accord, every conservative in the world, especially, conservatives in Australia, our friends there in New Zealand, they're cheering this. Says, without America, this poof, gone. This is about the redistribution of wealth, the destruction of America, the destruction of sovereignty and nations, particularly America. That's what this is about. This is not about saving the climate. Because what it is about is destroying America. Let's go on and talk to you more about what Trump said. He comes on with these bullet point facts. Could cost America as much as 2.7 million lost jobs by 2025. What is that? 8 years away? Cut U.S. production of paper, cement, steel 38%, coal 86%, natural gas 31%. Cut it. Cost the U.S. almost $3 trillion in lost GDP and 6.5 million industrial jobs by 2040, 2.7 million jobs lost by 2025. Nobody attacked Donald Trump on the facts. And there's more facts to come. Here he says China will be able to increase these emissions, greenhouse gases, by a staggering number of years, 13. They can do whatever they want for 13 years. Not us, not the U.S. India makes its participation contingent on receiving billions and billions of dollars in foreign aid. And incidentally, there's this green fund that is supposed to fund $100 billion a year by 2025. But he intimated that, or suggested that they've already been given money to this boondoggle from America from accounts they shouldn't have raided. This also, according to Trump, blocks the development of clean coal in America. We have hundreds of years of coal reserves in America, along with oil in Alaska and natural gas fracking and all kinds of other stuff. And we have dropped our emissions by, according to the EPA chief, 18% since the late 90s. Nobody's done that. China is allowed to build hundreds of additional coal plants. India will be allowed to double its coal production by 2020. Hey, I thought this was an emergency. I thought this climate deal is an emergency. They're going to let the two of the biggest polluters in the world keep on polluting and increase their polluting till 2030? Really? That's supposed to help us all? Please. And we need to have a seat at the table. That seat is awful expensive. Paid for by American jobs, loss of GDP, outright theft of wealth and redistribution of wealth from Americans to all these other, people. They've ratified it. They've signed on. I guess they have. They've signed on because they don't suffer and they get our redistributed wealth and jobs and everything else. And they get to pollute all they want till 2030. Yeah, that's going to clean things up. The biggest polluters can increase their pollution. No. Again, in short, the agreement doesn't eliminate coal jobs. It just transfers these jobs out of America, and the United States ships them to foreign countries. This is President Trump. And listen, if these coal jobs go overseas, you can forget any clean coal. They're going to burn it. They're going to pollute it. You can forget clean coal. If the coal stays here, clean coal is going to survive and probably flourish. They're going to come up with clean ways to, maybe make coal as clean as natural gas. Liquefy it? Who knows? I don't know. Let me continue to go on. Now, have you heard anybody attacking Donald Trump on the meat and the statistics and the analysis of his speech? It's just terrible. Oh, drop dead earth. Oh, hey, grandkids, you're all going to die. Or whatever. I mean, it's just crazy criticism with no basis. And, hey, he got these facts wrong. He didn't get any facts wrong. That's not how he's being attacked. This agreement is less about the climate and more about other countries gaining financial advantage over the United States. To that, I say go Donald Trump. And remember, I talked about this should have been a treaty. This is what Barack Obama was doing with the EPA. He was basically enforcing the Paris deal, even though nobody voted on it. Nobody really knew what it was. Everybody got lied to about it, or they lied by omission. And, no matter who is talking about this, they don't talk about why does China get to increase pollution till the year 2030? It's only a country of 1.3 billion people. And then we're supposed to pay them. We're supposed to pay all these other countries after they've taken our factory jobs, and then we pay them to make their factories cleaner? Really? And lower the standard of living for Americans and cut jobs and destroy our GDP? That's supposed to help America? And how dare Donald Trump say America first? The Democrats have lost. They have completely lost the working person in this country. They've lost them. They've lost the unions. They may have the phony, crony union heads putting their support by Hillary Clinton. As Donald Trump said, hey, these union heads should lose their jobs. But the rank and file? No. No. The Democrats aren't for you, rank and file. They want you what they want to institute is a new two-tier system. Little bitty top system and everybody on the bottom. And hey, you'll be lucky if we don't, depopulate you and kill you guys while we live in tunnels under the ocean and under mountains and lock ourselves away if any natural disaster comes along or any nuclear war or whatever. He also talked about serious legal and constitutional issues as well, and also a reassertion of America's sovereignty. And I think about this: we were going to lock ourselves into this, and we were going to get creamed every year, and no way to get out of it. Incidentally, Jean-Claude Juncker, the unelected head of the European Union, says we can't leave. We're going to stop you. You cannot just leave the Paris Climate Accord. This is supposed to be a non-binding. Sounds pretty binding to me. And any senator that comes out and is for this should be voted right out of office. The Senate ratifies treaties. This is why Obama didn't take this to the Senate. It would have never passed. It would have never ratified. And then he went to the EPA. That's why Donald Trump has been going to the EPA. I'm going to cut this regulation. I'm going to cut that regulation. I'm going to cut that regulation. I'm going to stop that. I like to cut the EPA budget by, 35%. I'm going to cut that. He's unwinding all this. Completely unwinding it. And the snowflakes said, we're all going to die. This doesn't help global warming. And not a mention, incidentally, by anyone about the high-altitude aerosol spraying. Chemtrails that exist, according to John Brennan, who talked about that. I put that in one of my videos, his actual talking to the Council on Foreign Relations, about high-altitude aerosol injection, geoengineering, solar radiation management. John Brennan talked about some of this when he talked to the Council on Foreign Relations, the former CIA chief. That is generally known as chemtrails. That's established science about weather modification, weather management. Yes, serious constitutional issues. Any senator that's saying that we ought to stay involved in an agreement that the Senate doesn't ratify is a traitor as far as I'm concerned, abdicating their responsibilities to ratify treaties for the United States of America. They should be voted out of office. Susan Collins was, I'm sad we are outside, you are leaving this Paris Climate Accord. It should be a treaty. And this is why the Bilderbergers that are meeting in Virginia, Bilderberg schemes to overthrow Trump. Oh, these danger, warning, danger. You got somebody saying, hey. And when you listen to Donald Trump's logic about costing trillions of dollars in GDP and millions of jobs, and we're paying and we're suffering and we're wealth transferring and the United States is losing its sovereignty. They don't attack him on that. They just, attack him on ridiculous things about, oh, he gave up on the future. He told the world drop dead. It's stupid. It's because they can't attack him on that. And the Bilderbergs, elites, this is InfoWars time, elites, and they send people to the Bilderberg thing. They send people there. Elites begin effort to reverse America First revolution. InfoWars also talked about the New World Agenda being in deep trouble. And also that, Trump is a dangerous risk. And, the EU, they're all part of that New World Order, Luciferian, whatever you want to call it, command control, central control by a very small group of rich people, and everybody else is a plebe, a peon, a piece of grain of sand on the beach. But that's, that's where it couldn't be any more illuminated with Trump's decision. And the backlash from the propaganda media. Yes, that's right. They are involved in thought shaping, spin doctoring, disinformation. That would be this, right? Propaganda. They have to have you think they're fair arbiters of the truth when indeed they are not. Information, especially of a biased or misleading nature, used to promote or politicize a particular political cause or point of view. Yeah, like the Paris Climate Accord. They don't have actual reasons and analysis for being in it. Well, we have to have a seat at the table. Well, that seat at that table is awful expensive as far as I'm concerned. You're talking about trillions of dollars and millions of jobs lost and trillions of dollars sucked out of America and the loss of our sovereignty. That's why we need to have a seat at the table. I think we need a new table. And Donald Trump thinks the same. Now you think about this, telling China, listen, if this is such a imminent threat to the world, China needs to stop increasing their greenhouse gases and reduce them now. India needs to do it now. We have. The United States is one of the cleanest countries in the world. We have reduced dramatically our greenhouse gases. One of the things that helped reduce that is natural gas fracking. Whoops. Yep. Clean coal. Listen, coal is going to probably turn to clean coal. If they start digging it again, they'll probably come up with technology, and they'll probably come up with ways to make coal cleaner, much cleaner. It might rival natural gas someday. And we've got hundreds of years of supply. We don't need to be dependent on Venezuela, on the Middle East. We have Alaska, we have coal, we have natural gas. Alaska is 4 times bigger than Texas. I mean, it's unbelievable reserves that the United States controls. Unbelievable amount of energy reserves. And this agreement would cap all that, according to Donald Trump. It's unbelievable. This ridiculous former FBI chief, Robert Mueller, and all the absolutely bizarre investigation into non-crimes by Mueller. Here we have General Flynn, who will aid in the investigation. He was subpoenaed. Kushner also has there are more stories about Kushner's back channel to Russia, raises legal issues. Really raises... Well, listen, I thought this was about Russia collusion and Russia interfering with our elections. And in this story here, it says, and let me just read this to you. It says here, well, for one thing, he had no formal no former position in the government when he first approached Russian officials at Trump Tower last December. Yes, last December, when he first, get in there, here we go. Yeah, right there. Russian officials at Trump Tower last December before Trump was sworn in. You see this right here? Last December. Let's see, when was the election? That'd be November. So he needs to open up a back channel in December to help out with the election. They already won. The story is falling apart, folks. I mean, really. Now we have these subpoenas going out by the House Intelligence Panel, and well, the Democrats asked for some subpoenas, and the Republican Nunes has asked for his own, which he can do because he heads it. And here the House Intelligence Panel subpoenas Flynn and Cohen and seeks unmasking documents. Now, this is CNN's pitch on this, CNN. But when they started doing a little, reporter interview with the anchor, talking about, well, the Flynn, he hasn't been accused of any crime. Cohen certainly hasn't been convicted or charged with any crime. And then we talk about the unmasking documents, with Susan Rice. And here is the headline that I like on Breitbart, saying House Intelligence Panel issues subpoenas, including on Susan Rice's unmasking. Folks, here's the story. Here's the real story. This is a story of an outgoing administration, the Obama administration, using all the intelligence services and law enforcement services of the FBI to, I think, illegally surveil, illegally unmask, try to then go to the press and illegally pass on confidential information, which is all felonies, to try to undermine an incoming president and his administration, and try to not only undermine them, but try to get the president impeached, get all the people that works for him fired, and catch them in an act, and oops, they haven't. What they've been caught in is a scheme that makes Watergate again look like a squirt gun fight. This is the illegal, I think, and this is why they keep on with this. Well, there was Russian collusion because they had to have an excuse to do all this surveillance. And Comey duped, according to one report by this dossier by this former MI6 British intelligence agents about him urinating on beds and Michael Cohen and all, totally debunked that he used to get a FISA warrant. And then you have the unmasking of many people and the leaking of transcripts that's ongoing to this day, all felony national security breaches, all felony. Leaking this to try to make Donald Trump and his administration look as weak and as hopeless as possible. And not only that, but try to catch them in a crime so they can throw Donald Trump out of office. It ain't working. Matter of fact, it's backfiring. That's the story. The story of an outgoing administration, the Obama administration, using all their powers, and I think illegally, to try to undermine an incoming administration that was doing nothing but making a transition. Whether it's smooth or not, I don't know, but that's it. There's no story. There's no there. And to talk about, this, they're doing business in Russia. Kushner was doing business in Russia. Donald Trump was doing business in Russia. Michael Flynn did business in Russia. Well, let me just get this list of companies out here. These are companies that do business in Russia. We're talking 3M. We're talking Adobe. We're talking Apple. We're talking, Cargill. That's just the C section. We're talking McDonald's. We're talking Facebook. We're talking, this is 123 companies. 3M, we're talking about 123 companies, American companies that do business in Russia. Is McDonald's full of a bunch of spies? Is Google full of a bunch of spies corroborating with the enemy? Last I checked, they're not. Russia is not a stated enemy of the United States. Are they a competitor? You betcha. Russia just bombed ISIS sites in Syria, and they gave the Trump administration a heads up. Now, consequently, the Trump administration is arming the Kurds, much to the chagrin of NATO's Turkey. Looks like Trump's going to try to knock out ISIS for real. And, heaven forbid that we have any kind of open channels with a country with a nuclear arsenal bigger than the United States of America. The nothing burger is the collusion when there's a lot of information and stories and things pointing to some DNC staff member who was disgruntled about how the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, was cheating with the Clinton campaign, clearly so, to rob Bernie Sanders of the nomination, and he was robbed of the nomination. Debbie Wasserman Schultz was the cheater, cheating with Hillary Clinton, and Hillary Clinton hired her. And then Donna Brazile, the interim chief of the DNC, also cheating by passing questions. Cheating. And I think cheating in the general election with all the illegal voters that they keep telling us don't vote. You should tell Obama that. He told illegals to vote, and don't worry, we won't come and deport you. Said it 4 or 5 days before the election. And then there's this Nothing Burger story. And this is Comey's friend says he was pressured to stop the General Flynn investigation, which there's no charges on General Flynn, incidentally. And as I said, I could find 100 some odd companies doing business in Russia. Was General Flynn doing business in Russia? Yeah. Okay. But here is, this is an AP story in my local news and fish wrap rag. Associate Comey okayed to testify in the Senate. And now his associates are saying, well, he was pressured. Really? Remember, May 3rd, in the U.S. Senate, he said he was not pressured to stop any investigation. This didn't happen. He also went on to say, well, sometimes people say, this isn't a verbatim, but it's close, that you shouldn't be wasting resources there. We don't think there's anything there, but but that's different. Do you think he's going to go in and testify and say, well, yes, I was pressured? Really? Well, what happened May 3rd when you said that wasn't happening? He's not only, he would be committing perjury or lying or looking like a buffoon. I don't know. But he is required to tell Congress. He's required to tell the Justice Department that the president is pressuring him to stop an investigation. He clearly said on May 3rd, under oath to the Senate, no, not happening. Didn't happen. I really think Comey isn't that stupid to come out and put himself in that kind of a untruthful and all lie where where were you lying? Where were you telling this? When would you remember it right? May 3rd or now when you say that he pressured you? And what about the memo? That's coming out next week. Comey's going to testify next. And they're going to ask him, where's this memo? I'll bet you $10 that memo's not produced. At least not produced anytime soon. And they're going to say, well, did you write a memo? I don't remember. I don't know. Not to my knowledge. Well, it didn't mean that. He's going to... Really? The memo means that he was trying to be pressured? Really? So far, Comey's not said any of this, incidentally. That's all, confidential, anonymous sources, leaks. Comey has yet to say anything about any of this. I find it hard to believe that James Comey, former head of the FBI, is going to put himself in that kind of a bind where he said it didn't happen on May 3rd, and now in the second week in June, it's happened. I find it hard to believe. I really do. Another reason why I think Donald Trump is so freaked out about the economy, he knows we have problems. Now, listen, John Williams came on here from Shadowstats.com and says, you might be able to get tax cuts and get the healthcare system straightened out, cut people's, healthcare premiums, give them more money to spend, tax cuts, give them more money to spend, relieve the regulations, get us out of the Paris Climate Accord. Done. You might turn the economy around. You might. I think the problem Trump may have in 2018 or 19 is that the bond market blows up, interest rates go up, but none of this debt's going to get paid. It's just we just got way too much debt, and you can't blame that on Donald Trump because he came into office with $20 trillion in debt. Period. And so if you take a look at one of the things that I've been watching with the Puerto Rican problem, the bond market and these sovereign bonds, and everybody thinks, oh, no matter what, government will always pay their bonds. Yeah, no. And here we have the S&P and Moody's, both of them, downgrade Illinois to near junk, lowest level ever for a U.S. state. Now check out some of the bullet points I got. A record $4.5 billion of unpaid bills. They owe $14.5 billion. They still owe this money right now as their government is ongoing. They owe $14.5 billion in unpaid bills. By June 30th, the state will owe an estimated $800 million in interest and fees on unpaid bills. On top of that, they're at least $120 billion in debt. I'm not even bringing up the unfunded pension liabilities. Illinois is a mess. I'll tell you another state that's a mess, and that's California. They got 38 million, roughly, citizens in California. You know, $1.3 trillion. They just passed universal health care without any way to pay for it. Yes, health care free for everybody in the state of California. They just passed universal health care, and the idiots out there didn't have a way to pay for it. You think they're going to raise some taxes and fees in California? You think people are going to flee California because of this nirvana of universal health care, and for all the illegal immigrants and all their, you know, the sanctuary state where, you know, illegal immigrants are protected, and we're going to, you know, spend money on legal fees to keep them from being deported, these non-citizens sucking up benefits? Do you think that California is in big trouble when they already have $1.3 trillion in unpayable debt? Remember when Schwarzenegger was governor? He was sounding the ding, 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 the alarm on $500 billion of debt that the state has and all these unfunded pension liabilities. Well, that more than doubled. That's mushroomed. And now they're tripling down on the insanity by voting themselves health care they have yet to figure out how they're going to pay for it. That's absolutely outrageous. The other thing that's big, back in 2008 at CNN, I figured out that, hey, listen, you know, there's trouble with the auto industry. Sales were tanking. And in this case, now sales have just rolled over in the auto industry, and the pipeline, for example, General Motors has something like 90 days of inventory of unsold cars. So the inventory on all the manufacturers is building, the pipeline is filling up and backing up, and sales are rolling over. I mean, Ford just eked out a couple of percent gain because of you know, sales to rental car companies, but that ain't looking. Housing is peaking, and according to Mannarino, rolling over. We got more negative news in the housing market, peaking, rolling over, and then the last leg of the three-legged stool, financials. So auto industry is rolling over. Housing industry is rolling over, and the banks, how long will it be before they roll over? And this is what happened just before the 2008 meltdown. This is what happened. And then here we have auto bloodbath, lowest domestic auto sales in 3 years despite record inventories and incentives. I'm watching TV. Buy a new Ford truck for $10,000 off. Buy a new Ram for $10,000 off. Buy a new GMC, $10,000. I mean, they give you $10,000 off. Now the truck's $50,000, but still, that's a big deal. And on top of it, you know, this is a more New World Order. Thank you, private Federal Reserve Bank, which is nothing federal and nothing reserve about the Federal Reserve, just a private bank with a trading desk. Nobody asked why they have one. Why does a Federal Reserve that can print infinite amounts of money have a trading desk to trade stocks and bonds and currencies and commodities and gold and silver? And why does the Federal Reserve have a trading desk? Nobody will ask that. But here's the Fed, the Dallas Fed. He says immigration crackdown hurting the economy. New World Order, open borders, immigration crackdown hurting the economy. Well, how about all those benefits that we give out? Food stamps, housing, education, college, incarceration, drugs, crime. What does all that do for the economy, Mr. Fed President? Yeah, that's what I thought. I have to bring this up. No big news happened other than the fact we shot a bullet down with a bullet. In other words, I think we sent a missile off the Marshall Islands, and we shot it down, somewhere in space somewhere with another rocket. They say that's only 40% good. I don't know, but they did do it. And they said, well, don't read into this anything more, with the South, the Korean incident and our carriers over there and subs over there and things like that. Don't read anything into this. It just happens to be we're practicing on shooting down intercontinental ballistic missiles with other missiles, and it was successful. But this U.S. carrier strike group joined Japanese near North Korea's coast to have military exercises. We have a lot of hardware over there in the vicinity. We have a lot of ships, strike groups, submarines, You were going on drills. The North Koreans keep firing these missiles. They want a ballistic missile. They have satellites that supposedly can, drop an EMP attack on America. A couple of satellites that fly over the country every day. When is that going to break loose? Or will it ever break loose? Mattis said that if we did have a General Mattis, Secretary of Defense, he says if that happened to be catastrophic, it would be, big. I mean, South Korea, Seoul, South Korea is in range of all the artillery and rockets that North Korea has, and no doubt they'd rain hell down on South Korea. But that's just something worth noting and worth watching. And I have to say something about, new military drills between Japan and the United States allies, basically practicing for war. And I hope it never comes. And finally, I wanted to talk about Hillary Clinton. And no, I'm not going to talk about Kathy Griffin. It's just stupid. I mean, with the head and all, it's stupid. I mean, it's just evil, nasty, vile. Donald Trump's holding his head up. But the bigger story is what Hillary Clinton is saying. And I mean, she is catching grief from Republicans and lots of Democrats. And for example, she's at this, this code conference, Code Con 17, and she drops this little bomb. I inherited nothing. Hillary Clinton goes off on the DNC's data operation. Then she says, and I mean, just one zinger after another, bankrupt. On the edge of insolvency, she calls the DNC. Oh, I had to inject money into it, the DNC, to keep it going. And she's also made other statements about how, that she, accepts all the blame for her decisions, but none of the blame for losing. And, there's now new information out, according to Judicial Watch, which says, yep, they found out that classified emails were sent to the Clinton Foundation, to Clinton Foundation employees. They had no business. They have no security clearance, the Clinton Foundation. They have no security clearance. And again, I mean, I'll sum up that whole thing that she said that, my emails is the biggest nothing burger. Really, I disagree, Hillary Clinton. My take is you used multiple servers, private servers, that's plural, to hide the fact you were taking treasonous bribes in the form of donations to a global charity fraud. Again, my opinion and Charles Ortel's, a global charity fraud that's now reportedly shutting down. I think that's anything but a nothing burger. And now new revelations about how more classified information, which is felonious. You can't send a classified information to people who don't have a classified clearance in unprotected servers. Okay. And she's talking about how the DNC's, you're talking about their data operation. Well, data operation, you had unprotected servers. You got hacked. You're crazy. Everybody in the world probably got all your information, and you were Secretary of State monetizing your job. But I digress. Is she just being a spoiled sport? Is she just delusional and refusing to accept responsibility? No. That's not my take. My take is she's scared out of her mind. She knows she's guilty as sin. Knows it. She wants to convince everybody that she's still important and worthy of their protection, worthy of them sticking their neck out. Like they stuck their neck out, the DNC cheated to get her, and Debbie Wasserman Schultz was the cheater, the head of the DNC, and then she went to work for Hillary Clinton, the person she cheated for, cheated to take the nomination away from Bernie Sanders. Donna Brazile did the same thing, cheated for Hillary Clinton against Bernie Sanders. And I think the whole Latino illegal immigrant voter fraud is unbelievable because, as I've said many times, and I have this on tape, the President of the United States, then Barack Obama, encouraged illegal aliens to vote and told them, don't worry, we won't come to your house and deport you. But I digress. I think she knows she's in trouble. She protests too much. She knows that somebody has got a crosshair on her back somewhere. She knows that her email thing is not anything but a nothing burger. She knows that the Clinton Foundation is anything but a charity. She knows that she wasn't just exercising her normal duties as Secretary of State when people are donating $145 million to get a piece of, to have 20% of the United States uranium production as laid out in the Clinton cash book roll over into Russian hands. I think Hillary Clinton knows she's in trouble. She's trying to convince people she's still relevant and important. And even on CNN, they were talking about how listen, the Russians didn't cloak Wisconsin and keep her from going there. And another, Al Franken, was also giving her trouble. The people who were doing the DNC IT staff are giving her a hard time as well. A lot of Republicans and Democrats, most notably, are giving Hillary Clinton a hard time. And she wants to remain relevant. And she wants everyone's protection. And I don't think she's going to get it. I think if anybody gets thrown under the bus, do you think Huma Abedin with her child is going to throw herself under the bus and end up in prison for the next 20 or 30 years for Hillary Clinton? I don't think so. You think Weiner is going to do that as well? You think he's going to throw himself under the bus? Do you think other people are going to throw themselves under the bus so she can walk scot-free and they can go to prison for the Clintons? I don't think so. And that's why I think she is complaining and going about it a horrible way, saying that the DNC is bankrupt and she had to bankroll them. Unbelievable, really unbelievable. Thank you for your donations to USAWatchdog.com. That helps us out in this era of reduced YouTube monetization. Thank you for your comments. Got the smartest people on the web on USAWatchdog.com and on the YouTube channel. Remember, fear not. And incidentally, I want to stop real quick. For the people, newcomers and newbies, I said this a long time ago when I first started this. Why do I use the term fear not? In the Bible, the term fear not, or don't fear, is used over and over and over and over again. When the angel came to Mary and said, you're pregnant with the Messiah, fear not, right? Fear not. Over and over again, the words fear not are used. Fear not, God's in control. Fear not. That's what it really means. Don't fear, because God's in control. Jesus Christ given all power on heaven and earth. So fear not. Prepare yourself mentally, physically, above all, spiritually. Fear not. God the Father and His Son, Jesus Christ, are firmly in control of this world and the heavens. Thank you for supporting USAWatchdog.com.